Hello and welcome, 2nd of July. This week I'm presenting the video from the shed/greenhouse, from the good old news desk. It's not just a news desk though, there is a reason why I'm in here. We're going to also have a weather report. It's the news and weather desk. It's windy out there. It is windy out there. 35 miles an hour winds, which is alright in the winter, but when you've got plants with a load of foliage on it, oh, we've got the sweet peas rocking in the wind, sunflowers swaying in the wind, and broad beans toppling in the wind, so I've had to make some fixes. Mostly canes fix things. So I've attached some canes to sunflowers and things. Smaller, thinner sunflowers just swaying in the wind. You'd say that was like character building for the smaller sunflower. The big ones, the girth was okay, but there was one, maybe the roots weren't deep enough, that toppled. So I'll put that back, hopefully it'll be alright. Feel sorry for the beetroot it landed on, but apart from that, so most things are fixed in terms of canes, but the broad beans, I did try and fix them with canes, but I had to call in some heavy duty pieces of wood there. So nice triangle TP structure there with some heavier bits of wood. So the broad beans might not all be vertical, but they're fastened to those bits of wood. But it did get me thinking, in terms of the broad beans, there were some casualties, some bits had snapped off. But then when I popped open the broad beans, they were fine. You can leave them bigger if you want, but small broad beans like that, you can eat them raw, or there's not much cooking required. So it did get me thinking, I've maybe got too carried away with weeding and looking after the new plot and stuff. Those broad beans are ready. So we've had a broad beans harvest. I've been harvesting a load of currants, raspberries and strawberries. Actually strawberries those were. So the strawberries are good news, because I got rid of all my strawberries a couple of years back, started again, so they're finally coming to fruition, some would say. And the raspberries, they were all off the new plot, so there's some good stuff going on there. So I'm now in the plucking things out of the ground, having a harvest, and I'm looking at my garlic. So last year my garlic all got white rot and died. Garlic this year, I did plant 3 or 4 more rows, but they were ones that I'd bought from a garden centre, the ones you're supposed to plant in the ground. The garlic that actually survived, sowed, I put them in the ground in January. They were just from a supermarket, break up cloves that you would normally eat. Yeah, they've all started to go, so the leaves are brown and that, they're starting to topple over. So there was some trepidation there, maybe I had fear of more white rot on them, but they worked out perfectly. There's a couple of weird ones where the cloves have sort of not knitted together, but all good in terms of the garlic. So then my onions, sensu yellow, and they were just called red onions, unhelpfully. So let's look back at how these onions developed since I put the sets in the ground in late October. Time to take my onions out of the ground. Did start it to flop. Enjoy some close-up onion action. just some beautiful ones there, great size. There's some still in the ground that they haven't flopped over yet, so I'm leaving those to see if they grow a bit better. There's no harm leaving them there. But I did notice of the onions that are bolted, 90+% of the ones that are bolted were the red onions.
So I had white onions down there, then a row of red. I had white onions down the middle there, then a row of red, row of white, row of red. There were white onions there, all okay, row of red there. So basically all of the ones apart from one that have gone to seed are red onions. We don't know why.
If an onion has bolted, so I've got a comparison. The top there is the onions that are bolted and the bottom are the red onions that didn't bolt. So there's a size difference, the bolted ones don't get bigger. But can you eat them? So look, you can. They produce, when they bolt, they produce like a central solid core. If you remove that, the rest of the onion is edible, but the longer you leave it, the more that core takes over and there's less and less onion to eat. So don't store them, but yeah, they're alright to eat, but to be honest, I threw them all in the compost heap because that core just got too big. So I've strung my garlic up and I've got my onions ventilated from underneath. Give them a few weeks to cure, that'll be alright. The sweet peas I've left to the forces of nature with that wind. It's blowing about, but they've started to go to seed after a load of flowering, so we're not canes anyway. Right, all is good. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe, send me a comment. See you next time. Cheers.